now let's get to the main part, and that is Abrie migrating. What made you take the step?
To be honest, I don't think in my line of work there is too much future for us in South Africa.
What line of work is this that you are in?
Construction specifically. So construction was going fairly well then.
Yeah.
But I was working for a company that just the CEO, and I won't say the company, but the CEO disappeared with a ton of funds. And
as one does in South Africa.
and I watched thousands of people getting laid off, not having received pay.
Oh, that joke was not as funny with the next sentence, but
in your face. Right?
okay, sorry.
Yeah. But I did see all of that stuff, and then me and you went on the trip, and I met a girl at the time, and I thought, like, if it's not now, then never. So
you're talking about the Kontiki tour.
The Kontiki tour.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
it was an awesome trip. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically you were already planning on moving or whatever, and that was just the final, like, okay, let's do it.
I've always had itchy feet.
Yeah, I know.
You know that.
Yeah.
I never can stay in one place for too long. But it was always on my mind. That was just a catalyst that actually made me pull the trigger on it.
Okay, cool. So I know some of the stuff, but let's take someone through it. Like, what's the process once you've decided to go?
Okay, I'm going to tell you how I did it.
Yeah. This is not, so everyone understands, this is not for every country the same blueprint. This is just your tips for how you did it getting into Canada for that. But
example. I can also speak a little bit about the Canadian system because I have read up, because I'm trying to get everybody over here. So I know a little bit. I'm no expert by any means, but
what
I can
shirt? Are you wearing a Gamestop shirt?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Okay, we'll get into that as well. But okay, continue. Sorry, I just saw it now.
So I started looking for a job of it. Mm-hmm. And first I used the agencies, which I'll talk to after my experience, because I don't think that they are actually worth anything, and I think they just take money. I'm sure there are good ones, but I wouldn't trust it. But anyway, we started looking for these guys. These guys kept telling me they couldn't find work. They couldn't find work for me. So I just kind of tried for about a month and a half with no results, and we paid these guys like 10,000 Rand.
Okay.
And just nothing came back. Then the girl at the time sent me a resume of how they do it, because we use CVs in South Africa.
Yeah.
And so I created a resume.
So quickly have to say what's the difference?
A curriculum vitae is much more detailed. So it'll be 10 pages, where a CV, a resume, they don't like it if it's more than 2 pages.
Oh, so it's condensed.
They will literally throw it out if it's like 3 pages, and they won't even look at it. So if you ever apply overseas with resume, they don't look at the long ones, they throw it out. So I created the resumes, and I started sending. First, I sent out CVs before I knew about the resume. 2 weeks, no replies. Then I got the example of how the resumes look. I created my resume, sent it out, and 2 days later, I got a lot of feedback. Companies that were looking for quantity surveyors at the time. So going deep, diving into that, typically what happens on that point is you have a job offer from a company. They need to get what is called an LMI, which is permission from the government to allow you to come and work in Canada. Now, that process can take anything from 3 to 12 months. There's also a list of what they call, I can't remember what this is called now, but it's jobs that they have too few people in.
Okay, so it's more on demand.
Well, yeah. So I literally got a job offer. I was on that list, turned out, and 2 days later I got the invitation, and a week later I got on a plane, flew in, and landed.
Oh wow!
And that's
so if you get that list and your job's on there, it speeds up the process a lot.
It does. It takes away the LMI application, because everybody on that list, and I think quantity surveyors, estimators, and construction managers might still be on that list, but it means you do not have the waiting period to get
of 3 to 12 months.
So what happened is here, they went out and they shorted everything about this company, and then people started picking up on this, and they were like, specifically this Rory and Kitty, his YouTube channel, started picking up on this, and he said, well, if we can just if this price goes up, then the hedge fund, it's a squeeze, because they have to buy back these shares.
Yeah.
To give
back to the owner. So you don't allow it to drop then? basically.
So, well, that's what he was thinking at the time, and he was posting about it. And he made, I mean, this guy, I'll tell you how much he made. But anyway, so that happened. But then a bunch of things happened that nobody could have foreseen. Firstly, GameStop, a guy called Ryan Cohen came in, and he bought like $75 million worth of shares.
Oh, so small chunk of change.
Yeah, small money.
So this guy is also one of the best online CEOs in the world. And he's taking over GameStop now. So now suddenly you're looking at this company that used to not do great. I mean, who buys their games at shops anymore? Right?
Yeah.
And but now you have their brand recognition and everything, and you suddenly have a CEO that has a track record of taking companies and making them massively successful. Okay. So people started noticing, and now the share suddenly seems like it's worth more.
Yeah. So the squeeze failed.
Then another thing happened. Government stimulus checks in America. You have a lot of bored people reading Reddit. They suddenly got $2,000 or $1,500 from the government that doesn't know how to spend it. And now they're reading that they might get rich off of this from the internet.
So
you have a bunch of people throwing money in. So what happened is the squeeze started. It went up from, so the stock is kind of like valued at $20. It went up to $480.
Yeah, I saw that spike.
And then all the shit hit the fan, because then they refused to sell us any more shares. And all
which is illegal, isn't it?
Well, there's 2 days ago they had the first Congress hearing where all of these people get in front of they have to kind of testify over what happened. But like interesting stories is like my girlfriend bought like $20,000 worth of shares on the Wednesday and sold for like a $200,000 profit Thursday.
Yes.
Like we're talking, the guy that Keith Gill, he had an original investment of, it looks to be like around 50K, maybe a little more. And if this thing happens the way that we are hoping it happens, like you never know, right? He will have made $100 million from it.
How much?
So $100 million.
Does he have a best friend?
Yeah, me.
Okay, we in. I'm happy with that.
Everybody on Reddit, he is.
Hey, buddy, how are you?
But I want to tell you quickly about this guy, because he is such a baller. So he made his money. He hasn't sold yet. Even through that, he did not sell when the peak came, because he doesn't, I think, believe it's the right one. He believes in the fundamentals of the company. Okay. He's never told anybody to do anything. He just tells us what he does.
Yeah.
We can decide if we want to follow or not. He was part of the Congress hearings too.
I want to follow.
Now, because he was part of it, we couldn't hear from him for a couple of weeks, and now a lot of us have lost money because the share price dipped to record low levels now.
Okay.
Because they're trying to get us to sell these prices, because if another squeeze happens, then they're going to shut down hedge. I think the one hedge fund they said lost like $10 billion or something in the previous half squeeze. Yes. But so he was on there, and he's the guy that always tells us, like, just hold, be strong, like, believe in what you believe. But he had a gag order, so we couldn't see what he was saying. We didn't know if he sold his stocks or anything. And then in the Congress hearing, it's like televised on YouTube.
Okay.
He had a little poster behind him, because he always, for a joke, wears a red bandana on when they interview him.
Okay.
Like he looks. He had a poster behind his. That says it's a cat hanging from a tree, saying "Hang in there" with the red bandana.
Okay, so a small little message.
So we thought, but everybody's speculating, and then the next day, this crazy bastard, he owns 50,000 shares. The next day, which is yesterday, came on, posted one post, and left. He increased his holdings to 100,000 shares.
He doubled
the amount of shares.
I'm the best there is. Playing
this guy is baller.
That's excellent.
So basically, they send you all people involved a clear message what he's believing is going to happen.
Yeah, he doesn't influence us. We can all make our own decisions.
Yeah. He doesn't say anything, but he leads by his example, or he tries to.
It's funny because in the hearing they were like, "Then why don't you buy anymore?"
And then he did.
The next day he went and he bought.
Can you imagine that guy asking that question? Okay, so why did you buy more? Next day you're like, "Oh shit, he did. Why did you do? Why did you challenge him?"
He went home like, "Yeah, I bet he's not going to buy anymore."
Yeah, definitely.
That guy has the biggest set of balls.
Yeah, he's a brave man. And we are
crazy.
praising him now, but in a year it might be like, what an idiot. He bought double the next day.
No, he'll make his money one way or the other. Like, that guy knows what's going on. But I did read a bunch of articles that they're scared that this thing, if it happens, we don't know if it's going to happen.
Okay.
But if it does happen, it might crash the whole market because of the size of it. So I guess we'll see.
And I guess the longer it goes, the bigger of a whirlpool, it becomes. But on how many illegal fronts are the hedge funds then operating? Because everything I read is like, they stopped selling, they stopped this, they did this. Like, to stop the squeeze, everything they did was basically legal. Or a lot of tactics used was illegal.
No. Well, we speculate. They got a lot of it.
Okay. Is that why it's in front of the Senate now?
Yeah, people are trying to figure out what's going on. But I mean, I get it. Like, talking about losing billions upon billions. Billions. Not 2 or 3 billion. You're talking about so much money.
Yeah.
Like, I think these guys are rolling the dice, like trying to scare us off and not go to jail. Otherwise, I think there might be people going to jail by it.
You think?
I don't know. I think so. I think there was a lot of naked shorting happening.
Okay.
To keep the prices down. There's a lot of ladder attacks happening.
I'm gonna say, like I know what you're talking about and everything you just said. Like, the ladder attacks.
It's very exciting. It's very exciting because it's on every news channel here constantly.
Yeah.
You have people that love us. You have Elon Musk tweeting about our group.
Okay.
Everything happens all the time.
He's quite a baller, though, eh?
He's such a baller.
Yeah, he gets involved in those random stuff.
I never knew you in that group. Actually, I saw it from the beginning on Reddit. And just about this group, this internet mob and stuff like that. And it's quite amazing that you're part of it. I wish I was.
Yeah.
But we're poor.
Yeah, we're poor. How much was 200
I got squeezed. My stocks are low. Son of a bitch with their ladder movement. It's always broke. It's not my fault.
It's going to be an interesting month.
So when is this coming to an end?
Nobody knows. Like, obviously they want to. So they pay interest on all of these stocks, which is a lot of money.
Yeah.
So it depends on when they can't go on. Like, they want us to sell for cheap. We don't want to sell for cheap. So so it's going to be a battle till someone loses. That's the sad part. I think that we have the upper hand, but you just never know. There's no
especially hedge funds are insanely rich, wealthy, powerful.
No, not these ones.
Let's talk next week. Anyway, okay. Do you have any questions on GameStop market?
No, I'm just checking now quickly. What's the did it go up or down?
$52.38, I think.
What a nerd.
I got no idea. I just look at the graph. It goes down. It's like it's bad.
That's how we trade stocks in South Africa. Is it uppy? Is it uppy? No, it's downy. Oh, shit.
Is it green or red?
Yeah, green. Uppy. Yes. Oh, no.
Sell.
No, it's going to go uppy more. Sell. Money. Yeah, sorry.
But the whole thing about GameStop is it becomes a gamble.
Okay.
I would not tell anybody to invest in it.
So when you got involved, were you under the impression, because obviously you got involved before the Popo Eater fan.
I started investing right when the liftoff started.
Now I have to ask you an honest question.
Yes.
Which you don't have to answer. When your significant other invested in this, were you like, oh, you crazy, dumb, you're going to lose your money, and the next day she then made 200 or 300 or whatever the amount of money, were you then like, I'm going to also do this?
This is exactly what happened. I was a little jealous.
But aren't you afraid? Aren't you afraid when you?
Yeah, dude. When women are crazy.
No.
We all afraid.
So scared.
Luckily, it's lockdown, dude. It's just shaking in my.
But if you invest, don't you get like second thoughts when you go to bed, like at night, and like, oh shit?
I don't think you go to bed. There's a lot of money in there.
So Martin, I mean, I've got a bunch of stocks that I have money into, but the thing that GameStop happened is we were climbing, we were going to reach the moon, like we say on the subreddit, and then suddenly they stopped selling, which is unheard of. It never happened before, and the whole thing crashed overnight.
Yes.
So we went from $300, $480 a share to like $30 a share. So at that point, we already lost money. So
How
now
did you just talk
I'm not-
through that though? What a professional.
Yeah.
Abrie does not get the. He just brushed it off.
Yeah,
no, you don't brush it off. But what can you do? Now you're just hoping that something else happens.
Yes,
But there are people that lost. I mean, I saw a guy that was up a profit of $28 million, and now he's down like $500,000.